She stands in a world torn between two lives. One is safe, familiar, and bound by vows she made long ago. The other is wild, dangerous, and alive with a fire she never expected. Claire does not look for love, but it finds her all the same. And, no matter how hard she tries, she cannot fight the truth that burns in her heart. Every step Claire takes feels like a betrayal to someone. But no matter which way she turns, the weight of her emotions follows her. She tells herself she must remain faithful, that her duty lies in keeping promises already written into the fabric of her life. Yet in the silence of the night, when the wind rushes across the highlands and the firelight flickers against the walls, she knows her heart is no longer her own. It belongs to him. She tries to bury it beneath reason. She repeats the names of people who count on her. She holds the ring on her finger, pressing it against her skin as if the cold circle of metal could remind her of loyalty. But the harder she clings to duty, the more her thoughts betray her. Jamie's presence lingers like a shadow. His voice, steady and calm, echoes in her mind even when he is far away. His kindness, his courage, his gaze that seems to see through the walls she has built. These things break through every defense she tries to raise. Her struggle is not only about love, it is about identity. Who is she, if her heart can be pulled apart by two lives so different from each other? She wonders if she is strong enough to resist the tide that draws her closer to him. The more she denies what she feels, the stronger it grows. She tells herself this is foolishness, that it will pass, that longing fades with time. But time does not heal when it is spent in his presence. Every day spent near him is another thread binding her soul to his, and so Claire moves through her days with a mask of control, speaking calmly, tending to her duties, pretending that she can remain untouched. Yet inside, a storm rises. She is both terrified and alive in a way she has never been before. The fear of losing herself wars against the fear of never truly living. And she begins to understand that this battle is not one she can win, because feelings this strong cannot be fought. They only grow, until silence itself is a confession. It begins in the quietest of moments, a glance that lingers longer than it should, a brush of hands that feels like lightning racing through her skin. Claire tells herself these are accidents, nothing more than chance. But in her heart she knows chance has nothing to do with it. Fate has written her into a story she never meant to enter, and each day she feels the pull grow stronger. Jamie is not a man who chases words. He does not need to speak of what burns between them. His silence says more than speeches ever could. When his eyes meet hers, she feels seen in a way she never has before. Not as a healer, not as a wife bound by duty, not as a woman trapped in time. He sees her for who she truly is, and that truth is both terrifying and irresistible. The world around them does not care for their feelings. The dangers of war, the weight of survival, the whisper of duty, all of it presses against Claire's chest like iron chains. She knows that giving in could change everything, could shatter the fragile balance she has fought to hold together. Yet she cannot deny the way her heart beats differently when he is near. Every word he speaks seems to carry a hidden message, every movement a silent promise. It feels as though destiny itself conspires to draw them closer. The paths they walk always bend back toward each other. She might try to distance herself, to bury her longing beneath cold reason. But somehow their lives collide again, and with each collision, the bond grows stronger. It is as though the universe has chosen this thread, weaving it tightly no matter how much she resists. Claire does not believe in destiny. At least she tells herself she does not. But when she remembers the warmth of his touch, the steadiness of his presence, and the way the world seems sharper, brighter, fuller when he is near, she begins to wonder if fighting fate is the most impossible battle of all. She is caught between two lives, yet one truth becomes harder to escape. She is not lost. She is being led. And the path, no matter how dangerous, leads straight to him. There are moments when the world slows, when time itself feels like it bends to watch her. In those moments, Claire cannot hide. The strong mask she wears for everyone else slips, and she becomes only a woman caught between two lives. It is in the quiet, not the chaos, where her feelings reveal themselves most clearly. She finds it in the way her hand trembles when she reaches for a book he once touched, in the way her breath hitches when she hears his voice in the distance. These are not grand gestures, not confessions shouted into the air. They are small, fragile truths that break her resolve piece by piece. For every stolen glance, for every silent second of closeness, her defenses weaken. At times it feels like the world conspires against her. The fire in the hearth casts shadows that seem to mimic the shape of his shoulders. The wind outside carries the echo of his name. Even the silence between them is heavy with meaning, as if every unspoken word waits on her tongue. She tells herself she will not look, she will not give in, but her eyes always find him, drawn as if by some invisible thread. She remembers the first time she felt truly seen, the way his gaze did not just look at her, but through her. It stripped away her walls, leaving her bare and unguarded. No one else had done that before. In those rare moments, she is not the healer, not the wife, not the stranger in another century. She is simply Claire, and being seen in that way both terrifies her and sets her free. Every quiet encounter leaves its mark. Every smile he does not mean to give, every touch he does not mean to linger. They stay with her, replaying in her mind when the world is still. She tries to lock them away, but the heart does not forget. The heart remembers, and in its remembering, it grows restless. These are the moments that undo her, the moments that whisper truths she does not dare to say aloud. And though she tries to fight them, deep down she knows. Her silence is already a confession. There are moments when the world slows, when time itself feels like it bends to watch her. In those moments, Claire cannot hide. The strong mask she wears for everyone else slips, and she becomes only a woman caught between two lives. It is in the quiet, not the chaos, where her feelings reveal themselves most clearly. She finds it in the way her hand trembles when she reaches for a book he once touched, in the way her breath hitches when she hears his voice in the distance. These are not grand gestures, not confessions shouted into the air. They are small, fragile truths that break her resolve piece by piece. For every stolen glance, for every silent second of closeness, her defenses weaken. At times it feels like the world conspires against her. The fire in the hearth casts shadows that seem to mimic the shape of his shoulders. The wind outside carries the echo of his name. Even the silence between them is heavy with meaning, as if every unspoken word waits on her tongue. She tells herself she will not look, she will not give in, but her eyes always find him, drawn as if by some invisible thread. She remembers the first time she felt truly seen, the way his gaze did not just look at her, but through her. It stripped away her walls, leaving her bare and unguarded. No one else had done that before. In those rare moments, she is not the healer, not the wife, not the stranger in another century. She is simply Claire, and being seen in that way both terrifies her and sets her free. Every quiet encounter leaves its mark. Every smile he does not mean to give, every touch he does not mean to linger. They stay with her, replaying in her mind when the world is still. She tries to lock them away, but the heart does not forget. The heart remembers, and in its remembering, it grows restless. These are the moments that undo her, the moments that whisper truths she does not dare to say aloud. And though she tries to fight them, deep down she knows. Her silence is already a confession. There comes a night when the storm outside is no louder than the storm inside her. The rain lashes against stone walls. The wind howls through the cracks, yet it is her own heartbeat that drowns everything else. Claire sits alone, trying to stitch her feelings into silence, but the thread snaps. The truth presses too hard, too heavy, impossible to hide any longer. Her hands shake as she tends the fire, though the task should be simple. Each flicker of flame seems to mirror the fire she has tried to smother. She remembers his hand steadying hers once, the way warmth spread from that single touch, and suddenly her breath comes too fast. She closes her eyes, but the darkness does not free her. In the darkness, his face is clearer than ever. She tells herself she must be strong, that her duty binds her more tightly than desire ever could. But desire has a way of seeping through cracks, and hers has grown too strong to contain. She is not foolish. She knows what this longing could cost. Yet even fear cannot cool it. It grows, relentless, demanding, until it is no longer a question of if she will break but when. When their paths cross again, the silence between them is unbearable. The air feels charged, as though every word, unsaid, has gathered weight and waits to fall. She avoids his gaze, but it follows her, steady and sure, pulling her closer without a touch. Her breath betrays her, uneven, quick. The space between them is a battlefield, though no weapons are drawn. Her will crumbles beneath the weight of what she feels, and in that moment Claire realizes something she has tried to deny for too long. It is not weakness to love him. It is not madness, nor chance. It is something beyond her choosing, beyond her control, a force larger than reason, stronger than vows. She cannot fight it any longer. Her breaking point is here. And the truth, once feared, begins to feel like freedom. The weight of silence is no longer bearable. Claire has lived for too long in the space between what she feels and what she allows herself to show. Now, every step she takes feels heavier, every breath sharper, until her own body betrays her. Her heart races whenever he is near, and the air itself seems to close in on her, pressing the truth out of her chest. She does not plan it. There is no speech, no careful thought, no choice made with reason. It happens in a moment as fleeting as the strike of lightning, a glance that lingers too long, a step taken closer when she should have walked away. The distance collapses, and in the collapse she feels her resolve shatter. What she has tried to hide spills forward, raw and undeniable. The world seems to vanish. There are no walls, no storms, no weight of duty. There is only the steady rhythm of his breath, the nearness of his presence, the fire in his eyes that mirrors her own. For the first time, she does not run. For the first time, she lets herself fall into the truth she has feared. She loves him, not in silence, not in secret, but fully, entirely, dangerously. The surrender is not gentle. It is fierce, as though every hidden word, every swallowed confession, every moment of restraint bursts free at once. She feels alive in a way she has never known. Every nerve is awake, every thought is sharpened, every emotion is unchained. And though she knows the cost may come later, in this moment, there is only freedom. Yet even as she gives in, part of her trembles. She knows what this means. Nothing will be the same. The life she once held on to so tightly slips further from her grasp. She can no longer pretend, no longer fight, no longer deny. Her heart has chosen, and it has chosen him. And in that terrifying, unstoppable truth, she discovers something she never expected. Surrender does not break her. It saves her. When the fire cools and the silence returns, Claire feels the gravity of what she has done. The surrender that felt like freedom now lingers in her chest with a sharp ache. Because love this powerful does not come without cost. The world outside their moment of truth still waits for her. The vows she spoke, the duty she carries, the past she cannot erase. They all rise again, heavier than before. She walks through the quiet halls, each step echoing louder than it should. Her hands brush the stone walls as if they might steady her, but nothing can. Her body remembers the warmth she has allowed, the touch she swore she would resist, and it leaves her shaken. She knows she cannot pretend it did not happen. She cannot return to the mask she wore so easily before. Something inside her has shifted, and there is no turning back. The guilt seeps in like smoke, curling around her thoughts. She whispers the names of those she has betrayed, trying to remind herself of duty, of loyalty, of promises once made in love. But each name she speaks is drowned out by the sound of his voice in her memory. Soft, steady, unyielding. The war within her grows louder, a battle between the past she belongs to and the future she cannot stop reaching toward. Yet within the storm of guilt and fear, there is also a strange peace. For the first time in so long, she is honest with herself. She no longer hides behind duty alone. She no longer denies the truth that burns within her. And though honesty feels dangerous, it also feels pure. It is the kind of truth that makes life worth living even if it threatens to break her. Claire knows that choices made in passion cannot be undone. The path ahead will be steep, filled with pain, filled with risk. But as she stands in the stillness, her heart whispers what her mind cannot silence. She has tasted freedom, and freedom cannot be forgotten. She has held love, and love cannot be returned to the shadows. The weight of consequence is heavy, but so is the weight of living a lie. And she knows now which burden she can no longer bear. The morning comes, but it does not bring clarity. Light filters through the mist of the highlands, soft and cold, and Claire feels both renewed and undone. She has crossed a threshold she cannot return from, and though fear gnaws at her, there is also a strange calm. The truth is no longer hidden. The battle is over, and though her world may crumble for it, she feels more alive than she has ever been. Love is no gentle guest. It demands, it burns, it reshapes everything it touches. Claire knows this now more than ever. She once thought she could choose between reason and desire, between duty and longing. But standing here, with her heart laid bare, she realizes choice was never truly hers. Destiny has pulled her forward whether she wished it or not, and in surrender she has found a truth she cannot deny. She is no longer the woman she once was. She walks into the mist, her thoughts heavy, her heart unsteady, yet her steps sure. Every path ahead is uncertain. There will be consequences. There will be pain. There will be a reckoning. But she cannot fight her feelings any longer. They are carved into her soul, impossible to erase, impossible to silence. And in that surrender lies her strength. For Claire, love is not a weakness. It is the fire that keeps her alive in a world that would break her. It is the force that carries her forward when everything else holds her back. And though she fears what tomorrow will bring, she knows one truth with painful certainty. She would rather face ruin with love in her heart than live safely in its absence. The mist thickens, swallowing her silhouette, until she is only a shadow against the dawn. Her voice lingers in the silence, not spoken but felt, a whisper carried by the wind. Claire cannot fight her feelings, and perhaps she never truly wanted to. For love, once awakened, is not a battle to be won. It is a fate to be embraced.